Good evening. My name is Ken Lassler, and this is a new show that I started, which is called Artist Profile. And I'll be profiling and interviewing different people from different aspects of the music industry and from the IE. And tonight we have Mr. Dwight Dawson. We just got done playing a gig, and we're going to discuss influences and things like that. So without any further ado, here it is. Okay, thank you for viewing. Proper technique for playing the bass?
I would love to, Ken. For a typical fingerstyle playing, I like to find a place to rest my thumb and then alternate two fingers, sometimes three, sometimes four. This hand needs a little more attention because there is one tendon for your index finger, one tendon for your middle finger, and then these two fingers, your ring finger and your pinky, share one tendon all the way to the elbow. So going like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 frets, strenuous. It gets tiring rather quickly, actually. When I learned this, I learned to isolate those two fingers. So it's 1, 2. Notice I'm using the pinky finger with my ring finger right next to it. Slide up to the next fret. Learn your technique that way, and you will be able to play longer with less fatigue. Trust me, it's worth the time and effort.
As I recall, you said to tie a hairpin around.
I'm glad you asked, but I don't happen to have a hair tie handy. But anything that you can wrap these two fingers around, because if you're used to doing that, the first way I showed you, where you're spreading these two fingers out, which is very difficult to do. You might remember that thing where you have somebody lift one finger and it's light, that finger's light, and then that finger weighs a ton, but notice it's easy when you lift both of those fingers. So by tying these two fingers together with something soft, like I think I first started with some parachute rubber bands that are used for packing parachutes. They're big rubber bands and they're not too strong or not too thick and they don't hurt. And that way I was able to do them. I have done 429 skydives and walked away from most all of them. See, it's not the skydiving that hurts, the impact at the end that can really hurt. Be careful.
How about the technique for putting the thumb on the back of the neck?
Yeah, the thumb, I was taught, put my hand in front of me and just set it down the way your hand normally sets. That's the way your hand should look on the back of the neck. If you didn't see the way I did it, look up the Blues Brothers, the chicken wire scene and where they're in the bar, and there's a shot from behind the drummer, and you see Donald Duck Dunn playing the bass. And
One of the great bass players.
One of the world's greatest bass players. God rest his soul. And he's doing it that way. You can play longer and smoother and easier. You're thinking, no, I can do 4 fingers. I'm a tough guy. I can do it. Believe me, I'm a tough guy. And when I learned this technique, it made it much easier to play the bass for extended periods of time.
How much pressure do you put on the neck?
Just enough to hold the string in place without, and it shouldn't quack or anything with it. The properly set up bass should be reasonably easy to play, but because the strings are so big and heavy, if you're trying to macho man it through like you were playing little guitar strings, you'll get tired quicker.
How about the difference between using a pick and finger technique on the right hand?
Nothing wrong with using a pick. When I met First Lady of Bass Carol Kay, I asked her, first question I asked, settle the bet, string, fingers, or with a pick? And I still remember the way she said, oh, well, here's how I play on, and she gave me an example of a song that she played. Actually, it was Feeling All Right by Joe Cocker. And the bass line of that was, to me, when I first learned to play that song with some friends down the street, that became the quintessential bass line that if people from another world would have landed in their spaceships and said, let me hear this thing you call bass groove, I would have had to put that record on. Remember records that are black and round and sounded warm, fuzzy, vaguely. And then she picked up a pick. She showed me the appropriate way to hold the pick, which I'll gladly demonstrate for you now. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
The pick should be held between these two fingers and then your thumb sideways across it. Just like that. That sounds terrible.
Well, it gets a little more attack.
But yeah, it's a crappy pick. But
No.
give me the idea of a well-worn pick. You went chewing on. Where did that pick come from? Did you wash it first?
Sorry.
So,
How about the way that you use the circle of fifths? The way in which you
I had been taught the circle of fifths by a number of different musicians. And Carol Kay said, well, let me show you the circle of fifths. I said, yeah, circle of fifths, I get it. And she was, oh, okay, we'll get back to that. And she put a chart in front of me. She said, here, read this chart. I read my way through the verse and the chorus. And then when I went to the bridge, it wasn't anything that fit in with a normal verse and chorus from my point of view. And she said, you know this? I said, no, I've never seen this chart before. I'm not familiar with this song. She said, you just told me you know it. I said, I did. She said, yeah, it's the circle of fifths. I went, oh, it is. And that, just that one little bit of knowledge was huge to me, because now all of a sudden I realized how I could figure out certain songs that had so many different notes in the bridge. I'm like, wow, how do they think up all this stuff? She said they don't. It's already there in the circle of fifths. If you come to a bridge and you're not sure where it's gone or where it's going or where it's going to be, it's always going to be circle of fifths somewhere. Might cheat a little way in and out from the transition from the verse or the chorus into the bridge, and then on the way back in to the verse or the chorus. But it's always going to be the circle of fifths. Made it so much easier for me to understand that. Yeah, it's made of wood. It's soft and smooth.
ground.